They're back my little olive that I started growing from seed in 2016. And as you can see, it's pretty out of control. I left it totally untouched last year, and even though it's in a tiny pot, it grew really well. It's been in the shed over winter, and I brought it back inside now. So I started by just pruning everything back. I just gave it a light prune at first so I could sort of see what was going on and actually see what the structure was. And then took it back a little further. Basically I was just removing any issues. I'm not too worried if it's a pretty drastic prune. It's really only the trunk I've been trying to develop, which is why I kind of let it grow out and thicken. You can also see I wired one of the branches down. It was just at a weird angle, so it's looking a bit better now. A few weeks later and you can start to see a lot of new buds forming all over the tree. So it's the perfect time to repot it. It's obviously in quite a small pot, so it's going to be really full in there. I'm expecting a lot of roots. I started by scraping away the top layer of the soil and just slowly trying to tease it out. I'm just using a toothbrush here to scrape away the soil near the trunk, just so I don't scratch it up with a fork. It's an olive, so it can take abuse, but I had the toothbrush right next to me, so why not use it? Anyway, after a lot of work, I managed to get it out, and as you can see, it's a pretty solid root ball. If I put it on this white thing, you'll see it a bit better. So now I need to just rake everything out. This can take forever, but it's important to go slow and just gently untangle everything. Then you can see what you're working with, and then you can decide what to remove and what to keep. Here you can see there's an absolute insane amount of roots. They'd all been coiled at the bottom of the pot, just going round and round. So obviously I got rid of those. They're totally useless. And here's what it looks like with a lot of those useless roots removed. And of course, here it is after I was finished removing everything I didn't like. Always drastic, but it's an olive and I can take it, and more importantly it's going to improve the roots long term, which is what we all want. I then just potted it back up in the same pot. As you can see, it's got plenty of space now, but no doubt it will fill up again in no time. Here we are a few days later in March. Nothing much is really happening, but we should start to see some action pretty soon. I think it looks pretty good so far. I think it has a lot of potential. In April we have a lot of new growth, but as you can see it's going in some weird directions. This tree lives under the grow light, but clearly it wants to grow downwards. I just pruned the back and removed anything going off in a crazy direction. I think this tree has potential, but it is a little unbalanced. Some of the higher up growth is a little too thick compared to the lower down growth. If I just come in here and show you this area, if you can see, it's just a little too thick up here. so I think it's best to remove it. But I'll leave this little shoot that's growing here. I still want growth in this area, and this little shoot can replace the thicker part. So I think that's helped a lot. Obviously there's still lots of work and growth needed though. In May you can see it shot right back again. Being an olive under the grow light means it's a pretty aggressive grower. So I just gave it another little prune. I do seem to have the habit of pruning my trees quite a lot at the start of the year and then just getting a bit lazier towards the end and letting them grow out in the latter half of the year. But I guess it helps keep their health balanced. In June it's the exact same. Plenty of growth, so I just pushed it all back. And so far I really like the direction this tree is heading in. July's the exact same, it's started to grow, so I cut it back. But I stopped filming the pruning. I'm going to guess you all know what that looks like by now. August is also the exact same. But you'll see I left one branch long. It was growing in a good spot and it was lower down, so I wanted it to thicken up and catch up in size of the other branches in that area, so I just let it grow out. In September you can see that one branch really grew, along with everything else. But no more trimming, I'm just letting it grow out and relax for now. In October it's looking pretty crazy. I can't really remember, or I didn't realise just how fast this was able to grow. You can only imagine how thick this would be if I actually had the space to put it in a large pot. Look at how much growth there is by November. I think it has stopped growing at this point. I had certainly cut the light levels down a lot. No change in December though. And straight after I shot this, I put out in the shed to have a little cold period, which is where it is now. But I'll be bringing it back in any day now. I think it's been out there long enough. Thanks for watching. See you next time.